Hey Harry Potter fans, Peter Kenneth here. Welcome back to the Potter Collector channel, where we are a community of collectors. For today's video, we are bringing some love and support to Ukraine. These are the Ukrainian translations of the Harry Potter books. All 7 of the books were illustrated by Vladyslav Yerko, and he has such a unique and colorful illustration style. There's a lot of abstract work in here, and let me tell you, every time I look at these books, I find something new. We're talking the front and the back are packed with all things Harry Potter, like little nods to little parts of the stories. It is absolutely genius and incredible, the amount of work, the amount of time, the amount of illustration that went into this translation. So we're going to take a look at every single book, front, spine, and back, and see what magical details we can find. To you Ukrainian Potter Collector community members, know that I and the rest of the Potter Collector community are here for you. We support you and we love you. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. On the front cover, the sky is like a sunset color, really beautiful. The main focus is Harry Potter on his Nimbus 2000, and he's about to catch the golden snitch. We see Hogwarts Castle in the background, different towers, and then one of the towers is Albus Dumbledore. So he kind of is within the tower. His body is the tower, his hat is the tower. He's holding a book. I mean, guys, look at this. Look at how much is on here. We see Hagrid in the background. The bottom features Ron with a chess set, Hermione with books, and a glass item that would probably be used for potions. Professor McGonagall, Mrs. Norris is on here, Snape is on here, students are on here, Norbert is on here. We see Firenze in the background with a unicorn. There are flying keys scattered throughout the greenery. I'm just going to put this image on the screen, let it scroll down, and let you guys take in everything that's just on the front cover. And then we have the back cover and the spine. Like, there's stuff on the spine and the back cover. If you guys see something that I did not mention, please write it down in the comments down below, because there are hidden details everywhere. Even the flag on top of the tower in the background features the Hogwarts crest. There are faces in the castle itself. I mean, literally intense detail. I don't think I can say that enough. You guys will hear that throughout the video. Like, detail, detail, detail. There is so much detail in these books. So on the spine, we see like a white castle. I'm not sure if that's part of Hogwarts Castle or something else, but very cool, more greenery. And then we flip to the back. So on the top, we see a bunch of owls delivering different packages and letters, the Mirror of Erised, and in the Mirror of Erised, we see Professor Quirrell as well as Lord Voldemort himself. There are some like fish skeletons around the frame of the mirror. Fluffy is on here. One of his paws is touching the golden harp that Quirrell used to put Fluffy to sleep. We see 2 centaurs on the cover, more of Hogwarts in the background, and then more greenery. Isn't this incredible? I'll just hold this up one more time for you guys to see the whole cover on the screen. So that is Philosopher's Stone. All right, Chamber of Secrets, my favorite book. This has a little bit less detail than Philosopher's Stone, but it is still packed with magical things. So on the front, we see Harry, Ron, and Ginny and Professor Lockhart flying out of the Chamber of Secrets on Fawkes the Phoenix. There's a half moon in the background. We see Hogwarts Castle, and Severus Snape looks like he's sulking away. I'm assuming that that's Snape. One thing I really like about this is we've seen this artwork depicted on other translations and on Chamber of Secrets, the US editions, where they're flying out of the chamber. Look closely at the bricks that make up this chamber wall. They are all faces. So we know that in the Chamber of Secrets, we see a giant statue of Salazar Slytherin. So my guess is that these are all Salazar Slytherin faces lining the walls of the chamber. There's some door knocker detailing. There are snakes scattered around the front cover. And then 3 sleeping children. Oh, those must be the petrified students in the hospital wing. Okay, so we have petrified students in the background. Harry is carrying the sword of Gryffindor. It's just so creative. I would love to be in the illustrator's head when he was reading these books and being like, oh, this is what I imagined for the Chamber of Secrets walls. Like a bunch of Salazar Slytherin faces, just crazy. And then on the spine, we have Tom Riddle's diary. There's a snake kind of slithering through the diary, and the head of the snake is Tom Riddle. All right, the back cover. All right, this is Genius. We see Harry and Ron in the Fort Anglia. Fang is in the back. Hagrid is also in the background, even though he's not really in this particular scene. They're surrounded by spiders, and the spiders have launched web at the car, and they've kind of trapped Harry and Ron and Fang and the Fort Anglia. But the best part, I think, about this back cover is Aragog. Aragog, who is blind, has sunglasses on. So all 8 of his eyes have sunglasses. He's got a mustache too, because you know Aragog is old. So just such a clever and fun and creative and whimsical way to describe Aragog. And then the ground is a bunch of leaves. Every little leaf is drawn, shaded, detailed. Phenomenal. All right, here we go to Prisoner of Azkaban. We see Harry and Hermione and her time turner kind of flying out from around her neck, and they are on Buckbeak on their way to free Sirius Black. Now let's take a look at the background here. We see Hogwarts Square. There's a fountain in the center, very beautiful. And then there are 2 Dementors, which are probably guarding the entrance to Sirius Black. This is definitely the most simple front cover that we've seen so far. But let's move to the spine, where we see a stag patronus. Very fun. And then on the back cover, this is where it gets interesting. So we see the Quidditch pitch, the Whomping Willow. We see the moon in the background, and in the moon, if you look very carefully, is a werewolf. Fun detail there. So yeah, the Quidditch pitch and the Dementors are surrounding the Quidditch pitch, which happened in the book. Again, we see the Whomping Willow, the hole below the Whomping Willow, which leads to the Shrieking Shack. Ron is carrying a leash or a rope to a floating or levitating and knocked out Professor Snape. Love that. That's awesome. Which in the books we know that he allowed Snape to like bump into walls as he was pulling him out of the passageway. And then at the bottom we see Crookshanks chasing Scabbers and Sirius Black and Lupin in their animal form. I love how all of these books follow that same style, that same look. Look at that feather detailing on Buckbeak. All right, Goblet of Fire. And then again, another simple design on the front and, yep, the back. That's where everything is. So we see the Hungarian Horntail guarding her nest of eggs, and Harry has snatched the golden egg and is flying away on his firebolt. His robe is on fire, that is book accurate. And then also we see the maze from the 3rd task, kind of in the background of this first task representation. Then on the spine, we see Lord Voldemort. Whoa, we see Lord Voldemort! And the Tri-Wizard Cup. No, I think that's the Goblet of Fire because there's fire in it. So on top of Voldemort's head is the Goblet of Fire. And then on the back, an Acromantula, we have a Dementor, Blast-Ended Scroot. Something I don't think we see very often on illustrations is the Sphinx that's in the 3rd task. So this back cover is pretty much all 3rd task because we see Fleur Delacour as well as Victor Crumb knocked out in the maze. Now the thing I'm a little confused about with this cover is the Stag Patronus and Harry levitating upside down. Now we know Levicorpus is a spell that you cast and that will dangle someone from the air. So let me know in the comments down below what that's supposed to represent. But again, another just detailed and creative cover showing different pieces from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Order of the Phoenix. This cover is beautiful. I mean, look at this. So, all right, we have the fountain that is in the Ministry of Magic, and it's being blasted apart as it was in the duel between Voldemort and Dumbledore. Harry is kind of intertwined within the statue because Dumbledore magics the statue to protect Harry during that duel. We see the prophecy floating out of Harry's hand. His other hand is holding his wand. And what's really cool is like the magic surrounding Harry, like it's hitting the statue, but then also one swirl has turned into a snake. But what I really want you to take a look at is right here. Look at the wizard's robes. See that texture there? They're griffins and different magical creatures carved into the golden statue itself. Guys, so much detail. Now let's move to the background where we see the Death Eaters battling the Order of the Phoenix and Dumbledore's army members. Even the base of the fountain, there's an owl there, a bat, some wizards and witches, just so intricate, so beautifully designed. There's a lot on this cover right here. Let's see what's on the spine. We have Professor Dumbledore. He is ready to protect Harry Potter. Fawkes the Phoenix is here as well. And then on the back is really stunning. So Dumbledore's sleeve kind of flows behind the back cover, and it turns into a galaxy, the stars and the planets. And that is part of Firenz's lesson. So Firenz the Centaur takes over for Professor Trelawney and teaches divination. We see the divination classroom with trees to make it feel like the forest that Firenz is used to. And then we also see students studying. Now there are a lot of characters on here too. We see Peeves on here. Fred and George are like, see ya, we're out of here, we're leaving school. Professor Umbridge, Cornelius Fudge, and Luna Lovegood with her lion hat. So Professor Umbridge, we know, is described as a toad. She looks like a toad. Look at what she's standing in. To represent her toad-like appearance, she is standing on a lily pad, surrounded by lily pads in a pond, and then there's also a frog there. She's holding some educational decrees. If you guys have not seen these books before, and this is the first time you're seeing them, my assumption is your mind is blown, just with all of the detail and things that we've not ever seen represented in illustration form, which I think is really cool. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. What we're seeing here is Harry and Dumbledore on their way back to the shore from the island in the cave. So they have battled the Inferi, they have the locket in hand or in pocket, and Dumbledore has cast fire to engulf the cave. Now in the water, we're seeing hands kind of coming out from the water. Those are the Inferi. And take a look at this boat. Look at those snakes, the snakes' tails and heads, and just really, really cool. To represent Voldemort and his cave and where he hid one of his Horcruxes. And then on the spine, we see the basin that held that potion that Dumbledore had to drink in order to reveal the Horcrux. The basin is standing on a pedestal, a really decorative dragon-like pedestal with faces carved into it, castles carved into it. And then at the base is what I'm assuming to be the Advanced Potion Making book. On the back is a pretty sad cover, so that smoke you're seeing, that is Dumbledore's funeral. We see the White Tomb, Hogwarts in the background, and then bursting out of the smoke itself is Fawkes the Phoenix. So we see Grawp there, Hagrid, who looks very similar to Robbie Coltrane, Professor McGonagall, Neville is there, Luna is here, Hermione, Ginny, Ron, and Harry. We see what might be the mermaids in the Black Lake, and then a few centaurs have come to pay their respects to Dumbledore. We are on the last book. The back is also really beautiful, but let's dive into this final battle artwork on the front cover. There are so many icons and items on here. So let's start with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. They're in the center. Harry is holding Ravenclaw's diadem, and then around Harry's stomach area we see what I'm guessing to be, I think that's Slytherin's locket, because when the locket opened, I think there was an eye in the locket. The other thing that could potentially be is the mirror that Sirius Black had given him, and throughout the entire book he thought he was seeing Dumbledore's eye, but really it was Aberforth Dumbledore's eye. So it's one of those. Hermione has her bag. Ron's holding the Sword of Gryffindor. At the top, we see snakes and dragons. That's Fiendfire, which engulfed the Room of Requirement. We see Voldemort at the top of one of the towers in the background. But then there's this snake that I think is supposed to represent Voldemort as well. Maybe that's supposed to be Nagini. So we have the snake. We're going to say that's Nagini because it does look like a female face. So Nagini the snake. The bottom of this cover features Bellatrix Lestrange's vault. And then I think at the bottom left, we see what looks like Dumbledore. That might be the mirror that Harry was holding. On the opposite side, on the bottom right-hand corner, we see Neville Longbottom with a fiery sorting hat on his head. We see that final battle surrounding the background. A very intense cover that packs so much into it. On the spine, we see Harry on his way to meet Voldemort. So he has the golden snitch in his hand, and then at the base of the spine we see the Deathly Hallows, which is actually the Resurrection Stone, which he dropped in the forest. And then on the back is also so much. At the top we see the fight between the Death Eaters and the Order of the Phoenix in the chapter The Seven Potters, and that moves into a beachside location which shows Shell Cottage. There's a giant ammonite creating the cottage itself. We see Fleur in the doorway and Harry kneeling beside Dobby. What's cool is everyone that's supposed to be in a scene, like if a scene is illustrated on one of these books, Everyone who's supposed to be in that scene is in this scene. The illustrator didn't just put Harry, Ron, and Hermione. They put Bill, and they put Ron carrying Hermione, and Luna, and just everyone is there. Then that moves into the right side where we see a tree, and hidden behind a tree is Severus Snape. He is right by a frozen lake where he has put the Sword of Gryffindor for Harry Potter to find. And then at the bottom of this whole picture is a doe Patronus, which is what Snape cast. Guys, those are the very detailed, very intense, very beautiful Ukrainian translations of the Harry Potter books. Now, you've seen the spines individually, but you have not seen the spines together. They don't completely make up a picture, but they do kind of make up a picture. Like things turn into things from one book to the other book. So those are the spines. We see Dumbledore's robe is kind of turning into the dragon's wing, which is turning into Buckbeak, which is turning into Fox's wing. There's some vapor or smoke coming from the basin that goes onto the Deathly Hallows cover. Just a very cool cover. You know, it flows, yet it doesn't flow. And each book's spine represents the particular book that it's on. So what do you guys think about the Ukrainian translations of the Harry Potter books? Was there a particular detail you liked? A particular cover, front or back, or even spine that was your favorite? Let me know and the rest of the Potter Collector community know in a comment down below. Once again, to all of the Ukrainian Potter Collector community members, whether you are in Ukraine, whether you're outside of Ukraine, I'm here for you. The Potter Collector community is here for you. I'll be in the comments down below. The Potter Collector community will be in the comments down below. Whether there's something you want to share, whether you just want to talk about Harry Potter, we are here to listen, we're here to support, think about, and pray for you. If you have any questions about Harry Potter or collecting, feel free to leave a comment down below. You can also join the Potter Collector community on Instagram at The Potter Collector or on Twitter at Potter Collector. Now it's time to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, keep collecting. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, welcome. You can subscribe right up here. You can also look at some previously posted content down here. If you have any questions about Harry Potter books or collecting, please feel free to contact me. I'm always happy to help. But for now, I must go. See you next time.
Whoa, where'd he go?